everyone, this is Julie Shaler, and this is the very first Free Advice Friday where I am giving you some tips, some tricks, and just some insight from the coaching work that I've done over the years. And the whole intent behind this is to give you hope and some actions that you can take to help advance your career, even in this unthinkably insane, crazy period that we are in right now. And so I wanted to share with you today 7 steps to networking success, to building professional relationships, because that is something that you do have control over and that you can do even in the middle of a pandemic. And so let me walk through these one by one with you, and I hope that they make sense. If you have questions, please feel free to message me. So the first one is that you need to have a strategy for your networking. And so it's really an idea of being intentional about it. So do you know who you're going to contact, where you're going to keep the information, how you're going to approach them, what you're going to say, etc. So just really being intentional and strategic about how do I want to set this up? How do I want to be intentional about it? The second step is that you need to have a couple of key prereqs done. And when I say prereqs, what I'm talking about is your resume, your brand statement, and your LinkedIn profile. So this is definitely the time that you can be thinking about that. You can making edits, really just be thinking about who you are, what you stand for professionally, and that becomes the headline to your resume and your LinkedIn. And you have the opportunity to really make sure that you're telling the story about yourself in the way that you want to. And then you need to be thinking about what I call your talk track. So that's like, once you actually get into these networking meetings, do you know what you're going to say? So be thinking about that, and how do you want to tell your story? How do you want to position yourself so that people understand what you do, how you do it, and that they want to be able to help you. The fourth step is taking consistent action. So it's great to have a networking strategy. It's great to have a plan. It's great to have a beautiful resume and LinkedIn. It's great to have a perfect talk track. But if you're not putting it into action on a consistent basis, then that's not going to help you very much. So you definitely don't want to do a one-off with networking and do a couple of calls and then do nothing for a couple of months. So taking that consistent action is really, really important. And then the next 3 steps are what I call mastery level things. They are, first of all, number 5 is your professional presence. And so this kind of boils down to what's the energy that you're bringing into the conversation. And granted, right now, none of us are meeting each other in person like maybe we would like to, but you still can bring in your presence, your confidence, that energy of knowing what you stand for and providing the person that you're meeting with a sense of certainty. And so just really thinking about how you're showing up is a mastery level skill. And that shows up on a video for sure, as well as even in a phone conversation. Step number 6 is your communication. And this is another absolute mastery level skill. So do you know what your communication preferences are? Do you know what your style is? And more importantly, do you know how to listen really well so that you can get a sense of how the other person communicates? This, I think, could really just boil down to pure sales mirroring techniques. And so that you're communicating, what I like to say, in the language of the other person. Because if you can do that really well, then they can hear you. They can understand you. You're much easier to be able to get your point across, and certainly to build trust. And you definitely want to do that. That is most important. And then step number 7, last but not least, is confidence. Is if you can have all the other steps in line, but if you're not coming in with your sense of really strong confidence, worth, and having a sense of confident resilience, so that if you do get a rejection, or if the conversation doesn't go the way that you want it to, that you're not beating yourself up. So you definitely want to be able to have what I call that mental and emotional mastery, that level of confidence. So I hope that these 7 steps gave you something to think about, and maybe even gave you a few things to reflect on of areas that you can take action on to continue to put yourself first, get out there, build the professional relationships, even in the middle of a pandemic, so that when The hiring freezes are over. You are at the top of the list and you are top of mind. So thanks and have a wonderful day.